You know, I'm always hearing people complain about kids these days and like kids have it harder these days and things like that, right? Maybe they do, but it's not for the reasons that you're complaining about. Do you remember when we were younger? Most of you who are watching this, do you remember when we were younger and kids got bullied for braces? Kids got bullied for being fat or heavy set, the fat kid, or just heavy set, right? Kids got made fun of for like mental disabilities, like disabled children got made fun of. Do you remember that? Do you remember kids saying like, "Oh, you must have rode the short bus"? Do you remember that? Stuff like that. Kids got made fun of for having red hair. All kinds of other things. They don't make fun of that stuff anymore. They don't make fun of kids for being nerds or being smart. They don't get made fun of anymore like that. Not like that. Not where a bunch of bullies are ganging up on them like that. Like they used to when we were younger. No, now it's cool to be a nerd. Nerd is a kids want to be called that now. Most of them. I'm speaking in generalities here. Okay? I've spoken with a lot of children. I'm around, I have a lot of conversations with kids. I love talking to kids. They're my favorite subject of inquiry. Okay? Because the answers they come up with are fascinating. It helps us see new perspectives and stuff. Okay? And also my own children are my source of information for this. But kids got made fun of for that stuff that they don't get made fun of for anymore. Okay? Now what do kids get made fun of? What do kids get bullied for? Most kids I've noticed are bullied or they're made fun of whenever they have kind of leadership abilities. Whenever they have potential to succeed over others and outshine others. And kids notice that. Kids are very sensitive and receptive to like subtle energies and stuff. They notice stuff like that. Kids do. And the ones who are lacking confidence and self-esteem and awareness of their own potential, that's when those kids that may outshine them get bullied. Much like adults these days. You know? Those are the ones now who get bullied and get made fun of and stuff. You know? What if, could that have something to do with the fact that we need new types of leadership in this world? Could that be their, like, resistance to it? To doing so? To stepping into their leadership abilities and leadership roles? These kids at these schools, they are our leaders of the future. And if we don't instill them with the confidence and the self-esteem and giving them the tools to discover who they are and what they could be and what they're capable of, and to teach them equality and tolerance so they don't think that others are in competition with them or they're in competition with another. If we don't do that, we're thwarting the leadership, the leadership that is supposed to be in our future. Okay? Do we want the kids who are bringing down others to help themselves rise to be the leaders of our children? Is that what you want for your children? Do you want your children to be led by a leadership of people who have brought others down to get to the top? I don't. Another reason kids these days are maybe have attitudes a lot and they're tired. They're tired. They may act out and cause problems. One of the reasons is because we are, as a society, forcing children to work all day long. Come home, do some more work because they have homework. And then we're pressuring them to play sports and do extracurricular activities that they don't even enjoy. Some of the kids that I've talked to are miserable with what they do. A couple of them have admitted to me that they only play that certain sport because their dad or their mom played it and they don't even like it. They really want to do something else, like play an instrument or something else artistic or to do with animals. I'm not saying that sports are bad. I'm not saying that at all. This is not a negative reflection on sports. But if your child doesn't want to play sports and they're already worked to death at school all day and then come home to do homework and pressured from every direction, why are you forcing them to do something, play sports that they don't want to do? That's dimming and watering down their passion for what they actually are here to do. They're here to do something. Every child is born with innate passions and innate gifts, okay? And ingrained and natural abilities and inclinations. And if we fail to recognize those things in our children, oh, we have to pay more attention to our child, huh? Oh my gosh. If we fail to recognize those things in our child, to help them grow and cultivate those skills and those things and help encourage them to follow those passions that they have, those natural passions that they have, then our children are going to grow up hating their jobs, hating what they do, miserable, thinking that they have to do things they don't want to do because they're in roles and positions in the world and in society that are not meant for them. It goes against the grain. If you're doing something and it's going against the grain, I'm not saying there won't be challenges to things you do, but if it's going against the grain, well, it's the wrong way. Okay? And if you're doing things and or if you're showing your child to do things that go against the grain, but you know it's the right thing because they're following they're following their heart, and you're going against the grain, maybe it's because the grain is the wrong way. In my opinion, the grain is the wrong way in this society when it comes to how we are raising our children in the way that like school is and stuff. Okay? For instance, I don't have much room to talk to my child. My youngest child is in public school. However, I do have an opinion on this. So, it's as if we're not allowing our children to be children. We're robbing them of that joy of being a child and forcing them at 5 years old, to stick to a strict schedule. Their recess has been cut short. They're made to do activities in, like, say, PE and things like that they hate. Why don't we have activities that are like a choice for them? Because one kid may hate running but love jump rope. But since he's been made to run every whatever day of the week, he's gonna generally hate exercise. Most schools they're not given the children there are not given the proper options for nutrition. Yet we teach them the food pyramid and about health and healthy choices. And they eat once a day at school. but they're there for a long time. They go to school, they may or may not have had breakfast. Hopefully they did. Some of the lunch times are at 10:30 a.m. Okay, but they eat lunch. They go the rest of the day without it, without food. At lunch, they probably had a piece of a breadstick or something, because they're not encouraged to make healthy choices. They don't have as many options as they should for food. And if we don't set a healthy example or give them options at home, then they don't even have the ability to choose. You don't give them the ability to choose a healthy food item, like a salad or like some fruit or something like that actually gives them sustained energy and keeps them full for longer. But no, they have a lot of freaking bread products. Then they go the rest of the day, I don't know how long, 3:30 or whatever, and then they're picked up, or they get home around like 4 most of the time. This is general terms here again. What happens when you have a plate full of bread and bread products and carbs and things like that? You crash. They're freaking tired. They're tired. Then they get picked up, and some of the parents have told me that most of the days of the week, they're very busy with sports and things like that. So they get picked up. They pick up food, fast food. They do their homework in the car. Then they go to practice or a game. Okay? Then they get home. They have to do their homework. Then they have to get ready for bed. Where's the family time that they're supposedly being encouraged to have? Where's the time for relaxation and being a freaking child? Where is it? And then they get in trouble for, I've heard kids get in trouble for, oh, you're always on that phone. Oh, you're always on that phone. Oh, my kid is on the computer. They're on their computer talking to their friends. That's all they do. You know what? It's because they're desperate for connection. They're desperate for connection. Okay? Like, it is normal and natural and healthy to have human connection. Yet, at the school my child goes to, they're not allowed to high five. They're not allowed to hug. They're barely allowed to socialize. And socialization is not encouraged, because it's all about the rules and it's all about getting the work done. Why? Because school is monetized. At the very root of it, that's what it is. It's not the teacher's fault. They're following the protocol of what they need to do. Which, side note, a lot of teachers have told me that it has definitely dampened their passion for teaching. One of them in particular told me that she no longer feels like a teacher. She feels like a mediator of a test. That is sad. That is sad. The kids can feel that too. They feel so much pressure. And they don't get a nap time. Some people see nap time as laziness and taking a nap as being lazy and unproductive. However, it's been proven that naps actually increase stamina and brain function. They are allowed no time for rest and for being a child. And they're being trained up to put work first over everything. They're being raised up to work, and no time for play. That's how they're going to be as adults. Not taking care of themselves, not spending time with their family, putting work above everything. If we don't teach them the right values and stuff. They're not going to be able to make healthy choices on the weekends with you if they don't have healthy choices and options for 5 days a week at school. They are desperate for connection. They barely get a recess time. I've spoken to several teachers and students who have confirmed to me that for lunchtime, yes, they have a designated, a section of time of the day for lunches and such. What is it, like 25 minutes, 30 minutes or something? I don't know for sure. But several teachers and students have confirmed with me that the amount of time that they get to actually sit down and eat is about 16 minutes. Yeah. Okay. And then there were times that my daughter personally brought home her lunch kit, and I found that she hadn't eaten much. And I asked her why. And she said she decided to talk to her friends instead. So then I started asking around to other kids who came, like, so for instance in my my job. and kids are open with me. They tell me things. They're very transparent with me, and I really appreciate that. I love talking to kids. So I don't ask them like personal or questions like that or pry into their business at all. But when we get on the subject of school, I do ask like, hey, you know, how was lunch or whatever, or like, you know, you get to talk to your friends and stuff. I ask them like that. And so many of them have said like, not really, because they were so hungry. And like, it's what? What? Do you remember when you were in school? And okay, think back. What's your most memorable like time, or what's the best memory that you have from school? Was it number 21 on the science test? Or was it Tommy doing something stupid by the lockers? Probably the second one, huh? They don't have that. They don't have any of that. It's like military school. I know I sound dramatic, but it's ridiculous. These kids are freaking tired. And they're starving. And they're desperate for connection. Social media is one thing. I'm not demonizing social media whatsoever, but it gives us a false sense of connection. We feel so connected, but we're more disconnected than ever. Talking to people on social media it's a great way to keep up and to communicate with people and such, to know what's going on and things like that. But it's not real connection. It's not real connection. Human contact is so important. We might blame the way the school system is and the way the school is on like the COVID era and things like that, but that's not what it is at all. It's all about the numbers. The school system, the public school system, is failing significantly. And I believe the things that I'm naming right now are some of the main reasons. Because really, all of this, what I just said, does it sound like the motive is the health and well-being of our children? It doesn't to me. It sounds like the motive is getting the highest number. Because kids are defined by a number on a piece of paper. They're defined by a number on a piece of paper so that they can fit into this box. Oh, and you fit into this box. Because you can be a lawyer, and you can be a doctor, and you can be a teacher. But your number's not high enough. So you're going to go lower on the bracket. Yeah. Who cares about your passions and what you're actually here to do? None of that is encouraged. No. Because it's all about money. It's all about making money, because that's what's most important. Sorry for your luck if you have test anxiety. Sorry for your luck. That is the reality of kids these days. That is the reality of kids these days. So next time you want to complain about kids these days and they don't know what we have to do, blah, blah, blah. Okay, next time you complain about that, have some compassion. Have some compassion. No, they don't know what you went through, but you also don't know what they're going through. If you're going to complain about them like that. I'm not talking to everyone like this. It's just the ones who have heard saying this stuff. No, they don't know. But how about shift your perspective? And let's go back to that first thing we were talking about, the bullying thing. Remember? It's not like that anymore. It is not near that bad anymore. The bullying isn't. There has been a lot more awareness for if kids were gay, or if anyone found out they were gay, they were made fun of and bullied. And now it's like, there are some kids who are just saying it to be cool or accepted. It's the weirdest thing ever. However, like, realize that fact. Realize that fact. Maybe it might shift your vibration, your mood about children these days a little different. Have compassion for them. They have a lot of pressure on them at ages that they don't need a lot of pressure on them. And let them be kids. Let them be kids. Give them a little, like if they're failing or if they're making terrible grades, and they're not wanting to do their work and stuff like that, then most likely it's an emotional thing. It's most likely an emotional or mental thing. But they should not be defined by a number. Never. No. If they're doing their best, like, who are you competing with, by the way? Why do you want them to make all A's? Like, and criticize them if they make a lower grade on something. Why? For what? Is it for you? Is it so that you can brag about them to others and receive some sort of satisfaction that your child is smarter than their kid or something like that? Or maybe because you weren't able to do it, or maybe because you did do it and you want them to keep up the tradition. I don't know what it is. Why? Why are we pressuring them to do that? If they are doing their best, they should get positive reinforcement. If you see them trying, kids do better. Kids do much better. They're much more emotionally healthy, mentally healthy. They're much more likely to try their best when they have positive reinforcement. That means pointing out the things that they're doing that are good. It means pointing out the things they're doing where you can see that they are trying their best. That's how they do better. That's how you have happier kids. Another way you have happier kids is not to put so much pressure on them to perform, to be perfect. They need to be taught that everyone has imperfections, but they should strengthen their strengths and focus on those things. All the critical things that they hear from you or a parent or anyone, actually, but mostly parents, the critical things that they hear, that becomes the running voice in the background of their mind as adults. If you're mindful enough, and you'll notice the way that your thoughts form in your mind about yourself and about others, okay? And if you're very critical about yourself and the world around you, it's because you grew up with someone who is critical of you and pointed out every mistake and every flaw that you made. And it made you grow up thinking that you can never do anything right, or you must do everything perfect so you don't disappoint. So if you're always criticizing your child or projecting your own criticisms about yourself onto your children, your child's not going to be a very fulfilled and happy adult. Not only that, but they end up being those children that do bring others down at school and everywhere else to make themselves feel better. It starts with you. It starts with you. It's our responsibility as parents to teach them these things. It's our responsibility as parents to teach them to make healthy choices and to teach them values and morals, to set their moral compass straight. To teach them about who they are inside, to help them recognize their strengths and their abilities, their skills, their passions, to encourage them to follow those things. to encourage them when they're down, to take some of the pressure off of them when they feel overwhelmed. To not feel like they have to compete with anyone. To help them feel like they don't have to please everybody or be perfect. To tell them that we're proud of them. To let them do things that kids do. To not make them play sports or do other activities that they absolutely hate. If you don't know for sure if they hate it or love it, then you need to develop a better, a closer relationship with your child so that you'll know. The activity or the passion that they have may not be financially fruitful or may not get them a diploma. What's it called? I forgot. It's something, oh gosh, I can't think of the word, sorry. But to help them with college and stuff like that. But so what? Are you more pleased if your child is happy and fulfilling their worldly goals and your worldly goals? Or are you more happy and proud if your child is able to follow his or her own true self and what he was created to do? If they follow their passions and they follow those things that their heart and their soul lead them towards, the money eventually comes. It does. Statistics about that stuff lie. They lie. What if your child is supposed to grow up and be like the president? Or what if your child is meant to grow up or has the opportunity to grow up to discover a cure for something that doesn't have a cure right now, but they're not allowed to go outside because they have to play basketball? You were thwarting his very potential. And I said have to play basketball. I'm talking about kids who don't even like it. I hope I'm getting my point across. This is for awareness.